Today, we are taking a train ride at the Rochester and Genesee Valley Railroad Museum, home to New York's largest collection of historic trains. Our train is pulling a vintage Merchants Dispatch Transportation Company refrigerator car, one of the great technological achievements of the late 19th century.
So behind me is a steel-bodied, ice-cooled refrigerator car. And the way that works is they would literally pack the car full of ice to keep the perishable contents cold. Now, with the introduction of refrigeration in the 1890s, you could move products outside the market that they were produced in for the first time, and they wouldn't spoil. So you could move California oranges to New York State. You could move Florida grapefruit to Chicago. You could move meat that was packed in Chicago to markets all over the country.
During the late 19th century, freight trains rolled across the United States, hauling all types of products to new markets. While refrigerator cars looked similar to other railroad cars, different materials and special features were incorporated into these cars to assist in keeping their products cold.
So we're inside our refrigerator car. It holds an exhibit about the history of Merchants Dispatch Transport, as well as the car shops that used to be at East Rochester. Inside, you see the walls are lined with oak because it turns out that oak is actually the best insulator. And you're looking around wondering where the ice is. Well, the ice would not be inside the car with us. It would be loaded into rooftop hatches, and there's a bunker at each end of the car, and that's where the ice would be. And you'll see the fans in the back are actually what would turn and push the cold air into the car.
On longer hauls, the refrigerator cars periodically needed to be replenished with fresh ice. Ice harvesting solved this problem as workers cut and processed ice for railroad icing stations. These stations were strategically located along a specific route.
And to harvest that ice, you'd use a saw like this to carve the ice into blocks that would then be stored in ice houses for the warm summer months. Also inside this car is the slatted floor, which is easier to clean and also allows cold air to ventilate through the car. Now, one of the issues with an ice-cooled refrigerator car is, like your freezer at home, it can get too cold and damage the items inside. So while these cars were waiting to be loaded, they would have small ethanol heaters like this one. And these would help keep the temperature inside the car regulated so the car wouldn't be too cold while it was loading. So in the early days of the meatpacking industry, you would ship live cattle to the end consumer, which meant driving the herd of cattle to the nearest railroad terminal, having them in livestock cars, and then delivering them to where the end customer was going to be. And it was in the late 1890s when they really developed the modern meatpacking industry in big cities like Chicago, where you would deliver the live cattle to a meat processing plant, and then the dressed beef would be shipped in refrigerator cars to the consumer all around the country. And you've heard the phrase, "Get your meat hooks off me." Well, these are meat hooks. These are what actual meat hooks look like. These were used to hang the dressed beef in the refrigerator cars while they were in transit across the country.
So many of the foods we eat require refrigeration. So many things in our lives come to us via the railroad. Putting these two facts together resulted in one of the most significant technological achievements in our history, the refrigerated rail car. The refrigerated rail car expanded agriculture markets, changed people's eating habits while improving their diets, linked cities to farms, and helped usher in modern society. An impressive list of accomplishments for an often overlooked technological marvel.